Monday. I was up at Rowdy's playing board games yesterday, and the craziest thing happened. When Rowdy was in the bathroom, I noticed that there was some play money sticking out of the box of one of the other games. I couldn't believe my eyes because the play money inside that game was the exact same kind of money Mom uses for Mom bucks. When I counted up, there was something like 100,000 in cash in that box. It only took me about 2 seconds to figure out what to do next. What should we play now? Gotta go. When I got home, I ran upstairs and stuffed the money under my mattress. I tossed and turned all night trying to figure out what to do with my new Mom's buck. I realized Mom would probably have some way of knowing the difference between phony Mom bucks and the real thing. So this morning, I decided to try a little experiment. I asked Mom if I could cash in some Mom bucks so I could buy stamps to write my paintball. I was really nervous when I handed Mom the money, but she took it without even blinking. I can't believe my luck. I figure I can make this $100,000 at all the way through high school, and maybe even farther. I might not even have to get a real job later on. The trick will be to not cash in too much at once time, or Mom will know something's up. And I have to remember to earn a few Mom bucks for real here and there so she doesn't get so suspicious. I will say one thing for sure, though, and it's that I won't be using the money Mom gave me to buy stamps. I got a picture from my pen pal, Mamadou, in the mail yesterday, and that pretty much killed any chance of me writing him back. Tuesday, my big history paper is due tomorrow, but they've been saying all week that it's gonna snow for about a foot tonight, so I haven't really been sweating it all that much. At around 10 o'clock, I peek out the window to see how many inches of snow were on the ground so far, but I couldn't believe my eyes when I pulled back the curtain. Man, I was counting on school being cancelled tomorrow. I turned on the news to see what happened, but the weather guy was telling a totally different story than he was 3 hours ago. We really dogged a bullet this time, Bob. You can say that again, Barbara, ha ha ha. That means I had to get cranking on my history paper. The problem is, it was too late to go to the library, and we don't have any books in our house that are about the 1900s. So I knew I had to think of something quick. Then I had a great idea. Dad had bailed Roderick out a million times on his school papers, so I figured he could help me too. I told Dad about my situation, thinking he'd jump right in and help, but I guess Dad had learned his lesson in that department. Roderick must have overheard me talking to Dad, because he told me I should follow him downstairs. You know how Roderick had Mr. Huff, my history teacher in middle school? Well, it turns out Mr. Huff gave Roderick's class the exact same assignment when he was in my grade. Roderick dug around in his junk drawer and found his old paper, and then he told me he'd sell it to me for $5. I told him there was no way I'd do that. I admit it was pretty tempting, because number one, since all of Roderick's assignments have gone through Dad, I knew Roderick got a good grade on his paper. And number two, it was in one of those clear plastic binders that teachers go crazy for. Plus, I had a huge stash of Mom bucks under my mattress upstairs, and I knew I could pay Roderick with that. But I couldn't do it. I mean, I've copied off of people's papers on quizzes and stuff before, but buying a paper off of someone would be taking it to a whole nother level. So I decided I was gonna just have to stuck it up and do the paper myself. I started doing some research on the computer, but all about minutes. The worst possible thing happened. The power went out. That's when I knew I was in some serious trouble. I knew I'd flunk history if I didn't turn in a paper, so even though I didn't want to, I decided to take Roderick up on his offer. I scrapped together $500 in mom box and went down to the basement. But Roderick didn't let me off that easy. Roderick told me his new price was $20 in mom box. I told him I didn't have it, so he just rolled over and went back to sleep. At that point, I was really desperate, so I went upstairs and grabbed a big handful of $1,000 bills and brought them down to Roderick's room. I gave him the money and he turned over the paper. I felt really bad about what I did, but I just tried not to think about it and went to sleep. Wednesday. On the bus ride to school, I took Roderick's paper out of my bag, but I took one look at it and knew something was serious wrong. First of all, the poem wasn't typed out. It was in Roderick's own handwriting. That's when it hit me. Dad only started doing Roderick's papers for him once he got to high school. So that meant this paper was Roderick's own work. I started reading Roderick's paper to see if I could still use it, but apparently Roderick was even worse about doing his research than me. 100 Years Ago by Roderick Heffley. Sometimes I sit and wonder about stuff I don't know, like what the heck the Earth was like 100 years ago. Did cavemen ride on dinosaurs? Did flowers even grow? Well, we could guess, but that was back 100 years ago. I wish they built a time machine and they picked me to go to check out what the skin was like 100 years ago. Did giant spiders rule the earth? Were deserts filled with snow? I wonder what the story was 100 years ago. F. See me. I guess I learned my lesson about buying a paper off someone, or at least off of Roderick. When third period rolled over, I didn't have anything to turn in to Mr. Off. I guess that means I'll be taking summer school for history. And my day got a whole lot worse after that. When I got home from school, Mom was waiting for me at the front door. You know what? That stack of bills I paid Roderick with? Well, he tried to cash them all in at once to get money for a used motorcycle. I'm sure Mom knew something was fishy, since Roderick has never earned a single mom buck on his own. Roderick told Mom where he got the money, and she dug around my room until she found my stash under the mattress. Mom knew she never put 100,000 into circulation, so she confiscated all my cash, even the one I learned for real. I guess that's the end of the Mom Bucks program. To be honest with you, I'm kind of relieved. Sleeping on that pile of cash every night was really stressed me out. Mom was mad that I tried to put one over on her like that, so she gave me a punishment, but I got that out of the way before dinner. Mom says we have to clean the whole garage. Shoot.